God, that'll be long. And every day I look like a triangle. Stop. Anyways, let's get on to the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another installment of, I almost said the podcast, but this isn't a podcast, this is an actual video. I guess I forgot because it's been so long. I've been on some sort of hiatus that no one asked for. I blame my schooling. School's been whack, my guy. School's been so annoying, but what are you gonna do about it, you know? I already filmed this video earlier today, but I looked at the footage and I, como se dice, hated it. If you've never been here before, I'm Erin. I'll say this just because it pertains to the video. I refuse to say this in videos that don't pertain to UC Davis because I find it so funny how college kids get so used to, like, every time they introduce themselves, they say like their name and their major and whatnot, but I try not to do it in my videos unless it pertains to the subject. But yeah, I'm Erin. I'm a second year civil engineering student at UC Davis. There we go. I did it. How long has this been out of focus? That's what I thought. So yesterday, a 2-year ago memory came up on Facebook of, like, I posted like a screenshot of my like acceptance email to Davis, and I was like 2 years ago? Oh my goodness. Like, literally the fastest 2 years of my life. But then again, this past year has also seemed like 18 decades all in one, but also has felt like 18 days. I had like these 3 videos that I wanted to do regarding like UC Davis, like freshman acceptance and whatnot, and I already did why I chose UC Davis plus regrets, and I was like, I want to get them out in like the time period where people are like choosing their college, but then school got so that I haven't had a chance to film them. But then I got that memory and I was like ma'am, I was like, you need to get on that because people are getting into these schools. You need to help the people, you know what I mean? So we're gonna do the next video today. So today I want to do my freshman experience at UC Davis, and please let me emphasize my. You ask, there are like 39,000 people at the school. Literally every single one of those people will have had a different freshman year experience. Here are some just like things that come to mind when I think of my first year, good and bad. Let's just, I don't want to say that. So annoying. Let's start the discussion. That sounds like I'm teaching a class. My first thing on here is really negative. Maybe I shouldn't start with that. But I will. My first thing on here, number 1, TAs can kinda suck. Let me explain. I didn't have the best like TA experiences in my freshman year classes. I think kind of what I concluded last year, like when my first year like ended, I was like, it's so obvious that these graduate student, PhD student TAs, they know the material, they know what they're doing. It's just they're still of like the student mindset that they don't know how to convey the information in a way that makes sense. I can honestly say I left discussions feeling more confused than when I walked in, and you know, that's not ideal. I think one of the classes that stand out to me most are like my first calculus class. He was like, again, a student, didn't know how to explain material. It was a difficult time. I feel like freshmen don't typically like skip their like classes, especially your first quarter, and now I just would have not gone to that discussion, but at the time I went to every single one, and I kid you not, I literally left more confused when I got there. But yeah, that's my first thing that I wrote down about my freshman experience, is that TAs can kind of not be the best. But of course there's like good TAs. I had like a really good TA for like my first chem class or whatever, but again, you're gonna get good ones, you're gonna get bad ones. I happened in my experience to have a lot of bad ones my freshman year, which was really unfortunate. I'm hoping this unfortunately not good TA experiences that I've had don't carry into like upper divisions and stuff. I feel like they're not going to. Of course, there's still the risk of having not a good TA, but I don't think it'll be as consistently not good. Moving on. Talking more so about, rather than TAs at the entry-level classes, we'll talk about professors at the entry-level classes. I don't know, for me, I was always like, I feel like a lot of them are just there to do their job. I say do because not doing a very good job at it. To do their job and don't seem to care about the quality of teaching or if you understand the material. That's not the case. I'm not saying that's like every professor, but I did have a professor or two that it's like they don't explain it well and they don't seem to care that they're not explaining it well. I have a professor like that this quarter as well. A lot of people have speculated that a lot of professors like aren't great because they just are there. UC Davis and UC schools in general, more so than like CSUs, are very research based. So a lot of people say like, oh, I don't think the professors want to do a good, like they are there all they just want to all be doing like research. So then they like have to teach a class, so therefore they don't teach the class very well because they don't want to be teaching the class, they just want to be doing their research, which I mean, I could potentially agree, but I have no way of like proving that that's why they're bad. But that's just a speculation that a lot of students have. I hope it gets better as I move up into upper division and stuff, and people are like more passionate about their teaching. Who's going to be passionate about teaching vector analysis, you know what I mean? And another thing that I found actually is a lot of classes are taught by graduate students. My very first calculus class, I had taken that class in high school already, except in college it was like harder and we did a little bit more stuff. I was very grateful that I had already taken like that class because that was taught by a graduate student, and again, kind of like the TA situation, didn't do a very good job at it because he doesn't know how to explain things very well, you know what I mean? On the contrary though, so we're not all negative today, a lot of professors are awesome. I can name one that I'll name is Timothy Bralinsky. I had him for my Greek and Latin word roots class, Classics 30. If you can take his class, I highly recommend. I think he teaches another classics class as well, which is like, I think it's like Greek mythology or something, which isn't my thing, so I probably won't take that class. Actually, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not gonna take that class. But if you can take him for word roots or even that class if you're into that, like, I highly recommend. Like, he's awesome. Who else was good? I mean, a lot of professors, it's kind of just like a neutral thing. It's like they weren't horrible, they weren't fantastic, but of course there's some on either ends of the spectrum. So overall, with like these entry-level classes that I took my freshman year, I had some great experiences and some not great experiences, like teaching wise. Next thing about my next thing about my college, what am I saying? The next thing about my UC Davis freshman experience that stands out to me in like one of the most important things that I am so happy that I did was getting involved in something that isn't school. I literally can't stress this enough. I can't. For me, it was a Christian fellowship. The Navigators have played such a major role in my college experience, and it's like, I cannot imagine being in college and not being involved in that. It's like, I don't know, it's like I can't imagine being in like the stresses of school and not having this like other thing that you're involved in that you can look forward to at the end of your week or in the middle of your week or what have you. Not to mention the friends that come from getting involved in things that aren't school. Of course you meet people in classes, but it's like not the same. So Navigators go on a fall retreat every year, except this past year because COVID. Like week 3 of the quarter or something like that. And freshman me literally hadn't even been in Davis for a month. I decided to go, and that was like the best decision ever. I make the point of that to say like, that was so out of my comfort zone. Going to Tahoe, are you kidding? I didn't even like know many people at all. It was literally week 3. But stepping out of your comfort zone is so important your entire first year, but like especially like the first month or so, because all the freshmen are in the same boat. No one knows anybody. It's not weird that you're like trying to make friends. Like if you're like scared to go to like the first function of the year at anything that you want to get involved in, it's like, No one's gonna judge you for being there by yourself, not only because they're a freshman and they know every freshman is doing it, it's because everyone there who has friends was a freshman at one point and had to attend things by themselves and didn't know anybody. So it's like, you're not getting judged, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's one thing that my freshman experience in Davis was super important. It was getting involved in the Navs, and it has formed not only like great memories, but great friends, great experiences, great everything, and I cannot recommend getting involved in something enough. Let's change gears, shall we? One thing that stands out to me a lot about transitioning from high school to college is like I don't know, I guess like your academic status change. And by that I just mean like everybody there, like at UC Davis at least, was like top of their high school class. And it's like, I feel like everybody, including myself, it's like you have to get used to the fact that you're no longer like top of your high school class. It's like everybody there is kind of on like the same like level, at least, especially within like the same major. It's like I'm there for civil engineering, and it's like all the civil engineers there, it's like obviously there's some like geniuses that I'm like, we're not on the same headspace. But a lot of people, like the average student for civil engineering, at least I'll talk on, is like we were like all like top of our high school class, and it's like suddenly we're all together and we're no longer at the top, and it's just like adjusting to that was like super interesting and like good, I guess. But that was just like one thing that was like a big transition about high school to college. Kind of going along with that is like in high school you get used to having like straight A's, for example. It's like a really high GPA or doing well on your tests, and then you get to college and you fail, literally fail your first math midterm, your first chem midterm, and it's like, hold on a moment. It's like a slap across the face, but then you realize everyone's kind of doing that. Everyone there, like I was saying, who is so used to getting like straight A's, above 4.0 GPAs in high school, are suddenly failing tests, like failing. The average on one of my math midterms was like a 35%, and I don't know, it's unfortunate, but you kind of have to accept the fact that you're not going to get the same grades that you did in high school. The whole idea of like C's gets degrees is so funny to me, because it's kind of like, obviously I strive for better than a C, but it's kind of like if you get a C, it's like whatever, it's like I passed the class, I can move on. It's like it took me a couple quarters to accept that, or come to realize that I'm not getting the same grades I got in high school, and that's very okay. So yeah, that was just a major transition I had to make going from high school to college. But it's like everyone freshman year is making that same transition and learning the same thing, that this is not high school, and that'll probably be reflected in your grades unless you're a genius. Kind of along with that, another thing that I had to change is like study habits. Like high school does not prepare you for college, at least my public high school. I'll tell you right now, the number of tests that I hardcore studied for in high school was extremely minimal. Extremely minimal. It took me a couple quarters to really like learn how to study. I can't show up to tests in college with absolutely no studying like I did in high school and come out with A's. That's not gonna, I study for hours, and I won't even get a B. In fact, students in college will study for hours, not even come out with a passing grade without the curve. Then the curve saves. But my whole point being, I really had to adjust to academic status change, study habits, grades, everything. But the thing is, everybody is doing the exact same thing freshman year. It's a total change for everyone, and all the people who are in your classes are feeling the exact same way, all learning how to be college students, because it's very different from high school. But it's a super awesome experience to be able to do that alongside like all these other freshmen, because everyone's in the same boat, like trying to figure out like college and stuff, and it's like you all like relate to each other. So it's really easy, honestly, easier than I thought to make other freshman friends, because you're all going through the same struggles, all trying to find your way at a brand new school with a ton of people. So yeah. Lastly, I want to talk about my dorm experience. My dorm experience was not typical. I think, and a lot of people had a better dorm experience than I did. Mine was, not only was it cut short because of COVID, I was only in the dorms for 2 months. Not 2 months, 2 quarters. So there's Tercero, Segundo, and Cuarto. Cuarto's like some off-campus dorms. Tercero is where like a ton of engineers were. That's where the engineering building, that's where most engineers were. I didn't know like any other engineers in Segundo except my roommate. Me, my roommate, and then another roommate, we all 3 requested to live together. And we were totally expecting to be in Tercero because we were all 3 engineers. We were expecting to be in a triple in Tercero. And we all requested the like engineering building, and we were like pretty much certain we were gonna get it. But then we get our housing assignments. We were in Segundo. We had there were 4 of us listed on the like who's living in the room, and I was like 4. But it turns out they added an extra person who ended up being one of my fantastic friends. They added a 4th person, put us in Segundo, but not normal Segundo, not the high rises. They put us in the Reagan area, which is this separate area of Segundo that is very not your typical dorm situation. Most of the rooms in this Reagan area are doubles, and so those are kind of like similar, like normal dorm experiences I guess, like the room exactly wise. But we were in a quad, and there are only 18 quads on the entire Davis campus. I didn't even know they existed. So basically what it was is like you walk in, and there you see this little room with just your desks, and then we had like our mini fridge and our microwave in there. And then on either side of the desk room, there's another door on either side, room A and B, and those are just rooms that have your bed and like dresser in it and your closet, and they're like these skinny little rooms. And I was like, what is this? I ended up really liking the room configuration because it had normally in like normal doubles or triples, it's like the desk is right next to the bed. It's all in the same room. So if you want to go to bed and your roommate wants to study, the person studying has to like leave. But how we had it was like this 3 separate rooms kind of. So it was like if somebody wanted to go to bed and I still wanted to like, I still had to be up and like study, I could do that, have the lights on and everything. It wasn't a big deal because the door, you could shut the door to the bedroom. So that was like super nice, and I didn't know those existed, but I liked our actual physical dorm setup. Did not like the area of dorms that we were in because they were so different than your normal dorm situation, but I'm glad we were in the Segundo area because I liked the location of it better. And the reason I say my dorm experiences like weren't super normal is because we didn't connect with a lot of people in the building. Everyone in my building, we were in an all-girls building, and we never connected really with anyone on our floor. There was one girl across the way who I had my very first math class with. She's become one of my like good friends at Davis, so that was super cool. But we just connected with that one girl, just me and one of my 3 other roommates connected with her. Other than that, I don't think anyone there could tell you my name, and I lived with them for like 6 months. I don't know, it was like really strange experience. But also my dorm hall was 3 stories. They're usually a ton more, but how mine was set up is only 3 stories, and it was an all-girls building. But of course there had to be a restroom that guys could use. So how it was the first floor was a girls' bathroom, 3rd floor was a girls' bathroom, 2nd floor was a co-ed bathroom. Guess what floor I was on? 2nd. It wasn't a huge deal because it was an all-girls building, so for the most part it was just girls. But if any guy was ever visiting or in the building for whatever reason and they had to go to the bathroom, they went to ours. And it just like always threw me off when I would walk in and there was like dudes. And if it was just restrooms, that would be fine, I guess. But our showers were in the same room. There's nothing more unsettling than going in to take a shower and there's men standing in there. I made a full 180. I said I'll take a shower later. I don't even know. It was a whole thing. It was whatever. It really wasn't that big of a deal. There weren't like a ton of dudes in there, but on the rare occasion that you would walk in and there would be a dude, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, this is co-ed. Forgot about that one. That didn't make my dorm experience like, it wasn't a huge deal, but that was just like another thing on top of like everything else that I was like, why was my dorm experience so strange? I don't know. But yeah, that was some random thoughts on my freshman experience at UC Davis, and I hope that it gave you some sort of information. Obviously, it wasn't like a things to know before going to Davis that's gonna apply to you or whatever, but I hope it gave you some food for thought. I don't know. But yeah, obviously my freshman experience isn't even necessarily gonna help anybody trying to decide whether they're going to Davis or whatever, because you can't base your whole perception of the school off of my freshman experience alone, because even my experience with the whole school has changed since my freshman year, and just the fact that I didn't even get a full freshman year, you can't, I don't know, it's just like, you definitely gotta consider so many things for just like yourself, and don't make any decisions off of just like what one person says, please. Please. Overall, like I always say, I am super grateful to go to my school. I overall like really love it, especially when I'm, you know, in person. Whatever. The next video that I want to do for sure, while it's still like college decision season, is things to know before committing to UC Davis. So I recommend that you subscribe and that you stick around for that, because I think it'll be really good. Probably more organized than this one, because this one was just like kind of some random thoughts about my freshman experience, but that one I'll actually try to have like points to make. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!